So now here comes the surprise, right? So, Ron, you know how the superdelegates were all in 2016 lined up behind Hillary Clinton from the beginning? It was like, what, 700?
I heard about it, yes.
Yeah, you may have heard something about it if you were following the Democratic primary at all. And look, you also may have heard that they stayed pledged to her, even though some of the states that Bernie Sanders had won, well, he won the states, and they still pledged to Hillary Clinton, when it seems like they should have followed the will of the voters and pledged themselves to Bernie Sanders. Kind of weird, right? Now, superdelegates, if you guys don't know, and I'm sure, like, you're my audience, you're super smart, you probably already know, but they're mostly party officials, insiders, lobbyists. You have a lot of lobbyists. They don't follow the rules of democracy. And that's the whole point of superdelegates, by the way. It's a completely undemocratic process, right? They're supposed to pick the person who they think is going to win an election. Now, they backed Hillary Clinton. How did that work out? Oh, right. Very poorly.
Yeah, she lost to the most beatable candidate in the history of American politics.
But wait, not only is he the most beatable in American politics, it was also somebody that she...
Actually, quick correction.
Yeah, true. But not only did she lose to him, she also helped raise him up into that position.
Yes.
And so doing the Pied Piper strategy, which was a horrible strategy for obvious reasons. So again, that turned out very wrong, very, very badly. So following, of course, Hillary Clinton's loss to this clown, this orange buffoon, some people in the DNC might be rethinking this whole, hey, we don't like democracy thing. So let me go to an article in Politico. Now, Tim Kaine wrote a letter to the DNC saying, hey, you know what, we should actually get rid of superdelegates. He said, I have long believed that there should be no superdelegates. Well, that's a surprising position. I guess considering, it's a surprise considering we never knew anything about Tim Kaine to begin with. The guy hardly got off the milk carton long enough for us to know. There's not much to know,
Jeff. He's a blank suit. He can't beat Mike Pence in a debate, and he's pro-life. There you go. I summed it up for you.
Wow, that's... But get back on that milk carton, Tim. Well, now he says these positions are given undue influence in the popular nominating contest and make the process less democratic. Absolutely. Politico continues to plead from Kaine, himself a former DNC chairman. I had no idea. Again, I had no idea who was a DNC chairman. That's how forgettable he is. Yeah. I forgot he ran with Hillary Clinton. Like, everybody forgot. Like, who is this guy? Oh, right.
I didn't forget just because I was like, this is the worst VP pick ever in the history of probably American politics.
Yeah.
I would argue worse than Sarah Palin. I would argue he was a worse VP pick than Sarah Palin.
I don't know. Is he worse than Lieberman?
Oh, yeah. I'd say so.
Worse than Lieberman?
I'd say so.
Ooh.
Yeah, because, I mean, Lieberman was at least charismatic and well-spoken. I mean, his politics were terrible. So are Tim Kaine's. But Lieberman was at least remotely likable and kind of did his job as a VP nominee. Tim Kaine couldn't even do that. Tim Kaine had, like, one job, win Virginia, which pretty much only happened because of Gary Johnson. And his other job was, you know, be somewhat tolerable. And he couldn't even beat Mike Pence in a debate. He cannot win a debate against a guy that thinks gay people should still receive electric therapy in the year 2017. He cannot beat that guy in a debate.
Yeah, but to be fair, he does speak Spanish.
The fact that Tim Kaine didn't just like... I mean, I don't know how you can't self-reflect and be like, I should be doing something else with my life. I mean, I think Tim Kaine is so many light years beyond pathetic. It's unbelievable. And if he runs in 2020, which not to jump ahead here, Jeff, but I think that's what this is all about. I think he's gearing up for a 2020 run. And if he runs for 2020, we will get 8 years of Trump guaranteed. We will have 8 years of Trump if Tim Kaine runs. I would be shocked if that guy, you know, people were saying stuff like, Bernie Sanders would be like a McGovern. No, Tim Kaine would be a McGovern, if he runs in 2020. Well, it will be a bloodbath if Tim Kaine is the 2020 nominee.
He actually has to win a primary first. I'll make that prediction
right now.
He's actually got to win a primary first.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, No, I understand that.
So, but okay, you know what? We're talking about Tim Kaine 2020, right? Okay, well, let's talk about that, right? So this is probably an attempt to try to get some of the Bernie folks on his side, or do you think that that's a possibility? I mean, he says he supports the DNC Unity Commission. I know somebody on the Unity Commission, and they are doing good work, I think, of trying to push the DNC to go left. I don't know how successful they've been. I can't really.
Well, they're
speak to
still
that.
getting smeared left and right. I mean, look at what they're doing to Nomiki Konst.
Oh, of course. I see it all the time.
But Jed, to answer your question, I think yes, you're right, but I would say it goes beyond just appealing to the Bernie folks. I think the superdelegates are massively unpopular, and Tim Kaine knows that, so he's kind of throwing this political football out there to kind of start bracing for that 2020 bid. I think that's what he's doing. I don't think Tim Kaine actually cares about a true democratic process. I don't think Tim Kaine actually really cares about eliminating the superdelegates or not. If anything, he probably wouldn't want to on a personal level. It helped him out. But, yeah, I think this is just totally a political football. And Tim Kaine, I mean, it was really impressive. You know, Hillary Clinton not only managed to find somebody more conservative than her in the Democratic Party, which is really hard to do, but somebody that's somehow less likable than her, which this was totally by design. Her hubris was such that they were like, we have to find somebody somehow less likable and less desirable and more conservative than me. Even in the Democratic Party, that was hard to do, but they managed to do it. They found Tim Kaine, whose likability, I'm pretty sure I saw the poll, it is somewhere in between German cockroaches and a burn on the roof of your mouth. That is where his likability lies, somewhere in between those two. He is about as likable as wet paint, and it showed. And so this is a political football Tim Kaine's throwing because a lot of the establishment really want to see him in that position in 2020, which I would, again, I mean, I'm making the call right now. If Tim Kaine's the 2020 nominee, get ready for 8 years of Trump. There's no freaking way. There's no freaking way. It would be a Republican landslide.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Tim Kaine's the 2020 nominee.
Now, here's the thing. You mentioned something about Hillary Clinton in the hubris. It's like she couldn't have anybody that would overshadow her.
Right.
You know, it was
right. And I'm sorry, I know there's going to be some people in the comments that are going to be like, you guys are still on Hillary, blah, blah, blah. And
I would love nothing more than to never talk about Hillary Clinton ever again.
Exactly. But the reason we bring it up is because it's in context of it shows how the only reason Tim Kaine is in the position he's in is for all the wrong reasons. That's why we bring it up. He was brought in as a VP pick for all the wrong reasons. That's why he was the worst VP pick, I would argue, ever in the history of American politics. I know that's a tough argument to make, and there are a lot of folks that are better with history than I am. I'm not like a history expert. I don't claim to be. But at least within both of our lifetimes, Jeff, he is the worst VP pick in both of our lifetimes. I would argue that with anybody. And he's in this position for all the wrong reasons. So please do not be fooled by his political football. The positive to take away here, and this is the same thing I said when Kamala Harris came out for single-payer health care, but the way she came out about it, she sounded like she was giving a confessional, like she was confessing a crime, saying that she was for Medicare for all. If you recall that video, Jeff, where she was like, I should probably tell my staff I'm doing something naughty, wanting us to want what most of the industrialized world, or pretty much all the industrialized world, already takes for granted. But anyway, these political footballs, the one positive to take away here is we really know that public opinion is on our side. People hate the superdelegates. They think they should have been gone years ago. Mm-hmm. People are recognizing that the irony in all this is that the Republican Party is more, quote, democratic than the Democratic Party. People are realizing that the superdelegates are not set up to protect us from ourselves, which is like the bullshit farce, the bullshit condescending farce that we're sold. But in reality, they're set up to marginalize true movements. And that's not how American politics is supposed to work. So people are finally seeing that. So you have blank suit empties like Tim Kaine throwing a political football.
Superdelegates are incredibly unpopular with the voters, but there are still people that are actually out there defending them. And no, the superdelegates, that they're fine. They're fine. Don't make too much change now. We still want to have control over the nominating process. Well, why would you want that kind of control over the nominating process? Oh, right. It's because you want to have somebody that's already pre-selected win an election. Mm-hmm. Like you kind of had with Hillary Clinton, and I say kind of not as a way to minimize it. I'm just being facetious when I say that. There was definitely a selection that was made for Hillary Clinton. Look, Donna Brazile can walk it back all she wants, but it was rigged.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And that's Elizabeth Warren, I gotta... Elizabeth
Warren
off on
her before.
Is like that person in high school that just you think they like you and you like them, and then they don't, and then they do again, and then they don't, and then they do, and then they don't again. And you're like, just quit playing games with my head. Either you're into me or you're not. You know what I mean? Like that's Elizabeth Warren in politics to progressives. Like that's what she is. She's like that person that's leading you on, right? And then like first she comes out for single payer, yay. Then she supports the military budget. Oh, then she says it was rigged. Then she says it wasn't rigged. Then she calls out the banks. Then she does nothing about it. It's like, come on, Elizabeth Warren, make up your mind. And you know what, Elizabeth? If you decided you're a progressive, you know what you would get to do? You would get to be president in 2020. That's what you get to do. I want to like Elizabeth Warren so bad. And I want to know that she's going to be a good leader so bad because I firmly believe she could win. I firmly believe Elizabeth Warren could win. People love her. I want to. I really want to.
She's just I'm not even angry at her for everything that she's done. I've just gotten to the point of where I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm totally with you. Like, I get it. You got to play the game to a degree. I totally understand that position. I'm not like that much of an idealist. At least I don't think I am. But you could have voted against that budget just to make the statement. You could have stuck by your guns and been like, yes, it was rigged. You could have. I mean, all these things she could have done. Well, and she's just not. And it's like, come on, Elizabeth. We really want to get behind you. Please. We want to get behind you.
On the rigged question, right? I've noticed a little bit of a thing like, what is the definition of rigged, right? Because I feel like there are two different sides using two different definitions.
Yeah, it's like the I did not have sex with that woman of our generation.
It's one of those things.
That's exactly what it like. Well, by rigged, I mean no, it was an unfair process.
It wasn't totally unfair process. Like, I don't know. Maybe they think that we're saying that, oh no, Hillary Clinton herself went down to every single machine and changed vote totals. No, that's not what happened. Nobody believes that. That's a nice little straw man that centrists set up. But we know, and Donna Brazile, even though she walked back the word rigged, she doesn't deny that what she put in the book. She found the cancer, right? And she found that cancer was the Hillary Clinton campaign having so much control over the process and having so much control over the DNC. So tying it back to superdelegates, right? So if it's so easy to go and buy out the DNC, what's to prevent the next campaign from going and doing the same thing and saying, yo, yeah, the reforms that you made, those are nice, but let's just quietly get rid of them.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that, I mean, stuff like that has already happened. I mean, they rolled back the provisions that Obama had put forth on unlimited, taking money from corporations and so forth. He put some guidelines there. They rolled those back. Tom Perez rolled them back right away.
Oh, absolutely.
And then has purged progressive since. I mean, the DNC has demonstrated by volumes that they have no interest in changing, but they're aware that people really want that change regardless. So you have people like a Tim Kaine throwing these political footballs for their own personal gains. And, I don't believe it's any more than that. Is that reason for complete pessimism? No, the optimism is we know that we got the numbers. We know that most people want this, that most people are discouraged by the process. So yeah, I mean, if the Democrats don't completely reform, they're done as a party, which is something we've known for a while now too, Jeff.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.